25 schedule has been released, and the Ravens re-signed Derrick Henry. That and so much more on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast.
Yep. And we are here, episode 311. Alex, are you with me?
I'm here. It's showing me the intro once again. But
Oh, wow. That's
oh,
weird.
there we go. There we
There we go.
go.
Okay.
Welcome back to episode 311 of the Purple Rain podcast, the Kamar Aiken episode, Rashad Perryman episode, James Prochet, Seth Roberts episode, and most
Ooh.
recently Jordan Stout episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you for coming through, spending your Thursday evening with us. We truly love you and appreciate you. As you can see, smash the thumbs up. It helps us out a lot. And feel free to caress that subscribe button if you want to. Follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. This guy right here, Instagram or on X at Sutton Def. Me, Instagram simply as10.prod, X simply as10, and most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. Go on there, use code PRP for 20% off your whole order and free international shipping. The best deal on the internet. But I know we are feeling good. Lots of good Ravens news. Did have some bad news we'll talk about, but mainly good. Hope we are all feeling good. I know you're feeling good. So happy Friday Eve.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy Friday Eve. As our guy K Dog, Mod K Dog, that is, to you in the chat. What's going on? K Dog says, Yo, Rain Gang family, what is good on this Friday Eve, aka Thursday? Everything is
Mm.
well. All is well. Like my guy Alex said, a lot of good Ravens news, a lot of neutral Ravens news with the schedule being released, and then a little bit of negative Ravens news as well. And like my guy Alex said, we'll get into that. But yeah, like he said, make sure you follow us on the Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. Follow us individually on Twitter or Instagram. You guys already know the drill. Like the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. We greatly appreciate that. We do go live every Monday, every Thursday at around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just keep that in mind if you are new here. That is when we normally would go live. But okay, let me see who else is here in the chat. We got RJ Ori is in the chat. What's going on? What's going on,
Going
RJ? Appreciate you
on.
for coming through. Always pulling up and supporting, man. We appreciate you. I see Dre in the chat. I see the Chef 87, of course, my K Dog. I know you guys are trickling in here. We got a lot to talk about. This is a news packed episode of the Purple Rain podcast. So what I want you to do right now is sit back or kick back, relax, grab your favorite snack, your favorite drink, whatever it is, because we got some stuff to talk about. So you know how like people always give you there's the that popular ultimatum like, hey, do you want the good news first or the bad news? I got both for you.
Yeah.
And people always say, okay, give me the bad news first. So that's where we're going to start here on this episode 311 of the Purple Rain podcast. So literally one day after we went live, I think this happened on Tuesday. Ravens safety, starting safety, Darius Washington tore his Achilles in conditioning, which will leave him out the entire season. Of course, the rest of the offseason, but it's looking like probably the entire season as well. So this was just an absolute gut punch, kind of like, midway through the offseason. You don't want to start hearing about guys getting hurt early, especially before, mini camp or training camp even really starts, OTAs even. None of that stuff has started yet. But it came out that he tore his Achilles in conditioning, which kind of raised some eyebrows to a couple different people like, okay, was this avoidable? You know what I mean? Because like we've seen stuff like this before, and like you would think that like, okay, our strength and conditioning coaches and our athletic trainers would be able to kind of avoid things like this, but everything happens for a reason. It's all divine timing. We really don't know why things happen the way that they do. Just like they say, any given Sunday, it's literally any given day with these guys' bodies, man. They put their bodies through so much, like you just don't know when something can go wrong. But again, prayers up to Darius Washington. I think that, football implications wise, before I toss it to you, Alex, I think, the implications on the football team is that Malachi Starks is going to have to step up, soon and very soon. We can't really have the training wheels on him for too long with this I word. And then also your guy, Bo Braid. Sanusi Kane, those guys are going to get a chance to touch the field and really see what they have to offer. So there's a silver lining there. We do get to see our first draft pick get a little bit more burn because of that, but our Darius Washington was just so good for us, especially in the back half of that season, supporting Kyle Hamilton in that safety room and just making multiple big plays. Most notably, the one I remember the most was the fumble forced on Russell Wilson at the goal line. Man, that was absolutely incredible. So again, prayers up to Ardarius Washington. Hoping for a speedy recovery. But this one really just sucks, man. But what did you think about it?
Yeah, and with modern medicine, it's not crazy to say he could be back this year, but it probably wouldn't be the smartest idea, considering his position. But crazier things have happened. But yeah, for a guy who really hasn't caught any breaks, who catches one last year for being, thrown in the starting lineup and making an impact and playing as well as he did, to this now, like getting his first, I guess, real NFL money. I don't want to, kind of penny pocket watch, but making a good amount on that tender and gonna be a free agent next year. So you're thinking he's gonna have a big role at the defense. Hopefully he can get a big contract from, if not us, maybe somebody else, life changing money. Can, feed your family for generations, and kind of gets, taken away from you right in front of you. Unfortunately, and I hate to be, the bearer of bad news or just a Debbie Downer, but that's just kind of how I'm looking at it. Hurts us football wise because now, is Kyle Hamilton going to be roaming back there again? Once defense was good, but obviously wasn't making as many splash plays. Not a lot of turnovers. Like we are used to. But we could take a look at that free agent market, and I'll be honest, there are a good amount of free agent safeties, but like you say, the younger guys, seventh round pick, Unity Kane, of course, near and dear to my heart, Mr. Bo Braid out of Maryland, UDFA, who showed a little bit in preseason, but I'm not going to sit here and tout him as the next best thing. But there are options for us, and I think EDC will probably go down the route of maybe a free agent. We did it last year with Eddie Jackson. We had Hamilton, had Marcus Williams. That's a lot more investment right there in those guys, than what we have now. So I feel like it wouldn't surprise me if we maybe do a tryout or maybe talk to one of these guys, and they might be wearing the black and purple come week one.
Yeah, and like Jeremiah W says here, the safety market is deep though, so it's not bad for someone. So I mean, yeah, like you said, the timing of it does give the Ravens an opportunity to potentially go out and pursue a free agent. Dre also says here we might need to sign someone, but he does like Sanusi Kane and Bo Braid. I think that we just got done talking about on Monday how a defensive tackle was probably going to be the biggest need and probably going to be the final acquisition for the Ravens to make this offseason. But now it's kind of looking like it might sway towards that backup safety position if they want a little bit more insurance there. So we'll have to wait and see. RTV says, "Hey, great show, guys. What's going on,
Oh,
RTV?
thank you.
Appreciate you for coming through. Thank you so much for that. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate it. But yes, again, man, prayers up to our Darius Washington. You made a really good point. I mean, this guy was on the precipice of potentially landing a really, really big contract, if not with the Ravens, but potentially somewhere else, which was going to be really big for him. So it just sucks that that's all taken away from him with just a freak accident, not even in a game, not even in training camp, but like just conditioning. It just sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah,
We do
I
have,
mean, like,
go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry, but like with knowing that he got hurt the first year, second year, hurt again, third year, he was out. I mean, first game he played had a sack and out the rest of the year. Then this year he actually gets a chance to show something. It freaking sucks. Like he's probably one of the longer tenure guys on this team. Came here in 2021, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, he's been here for that long. So I mean, now he was playing with Sammy Watkins and guys like that. Now he's with us now, but we do have options. I just hope he can heal up and maybe have a late year comeback return. But I'm just not gonna put my hold my breath on that because I just don't think it'll be best for his body or his career.
Yeah, totally agree there. RJ Ori says, "Do you think that we can get Justin
Whew.
Simmons?"
That's a name people have been talking about. A
Yeah.
lot of money though, I'm feeling. But we'll talk about how we did free up some cap in our next segment. But it could be done.
Hmm.
I'll leave it at that. It
Yes,
could be done.
it could be done. It could be done. Justin Simmons is a name that's been floating around from Ravens fans for the past year now, to be honest with you. So it'll be interesting to see if they do end up pursuing him. Thank you for your comment, RJ. So let's go ahead and get into the bulk of the news that happened this
The
week,
good
right?
news.
So the big news, the good news, right? For that, we will go ahead and hand it off to our Purple Rain report.
Yes. And there it is. I mean, yesterday around midday, get some breaking news. News that we kind of were expecting. Didn't know when it was going to happen, but the Ravens and Derrick Henry reached an agreement on a 2-year, $30 million extension that includes $25 million fully guaranteed over the next 2 seasons. It's the largest deal for a running back at over 30 years old. And like I said, this will free up, I believe, $4 million in cap for this year. So
Right.
nose tackle, safety, maybe an O lineman, who knows? Still a big opportunity out there. But this right here was needed. And when you look at the market of other running backs, it's actually a really good deal, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is a 30-year-old running back. Of I know that's what his age is, but the way he takes care of his body, the way he plays, showed no signs of slowing down last year whatsoever.
No. No. I mean, Derrick Henry, it looked like he hit another gear, and I think that that has a lot to do with the Ravens scheme. It made it a lot easier for him to kind of find some of those big holes. It seemed like every single game he was ripping off a huge run. Him and Saquon Barkley were pretty much neck and neck by the end. By the end of the season. But the nature of a Lamar Jackson led offense where there's the threat of Lamar using his legs also with the pass, and then there's other running backs too, like Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, even though he hasn't really done too much with this regime. I think it's definitely kind of helped him turn the clocks back on his career as it was kind of dying in Tennessee, right? The offense was getting stale. Everybody knew that, okay, 3 downs, you're going to give it to Derrick Henry. And then we'll see what happens from there. But in this offense, it's a lot more multiple, and it allows Derrick Henry to, even in his older age, still dominate. So I think it makes all the sense in the world to extend him and kind of get that cap number down, especially in the meantime, because we're going to need to make more moves. And surprise, surprise, I mean, here we are needing to make another move, quite possibly. So, but like you mentioned, man, I mean, the current running back market right now, if we're talking about average salary per year, you got Saquon Barkley making 20 mil a year, Christian McCaffrey making 19 mil a year, Jonathan Taylor making 14 mil a year, Alvin Kamara making $12.25 million a year. And now you've got Derrick Henry making an average of $12 million a year. So he's at that top five, right? At the number five spot. And what more can you ask for? Because this guy's giving you top one, top two running back production. So it really is a steal. And like you said, it saves us about $4 million in cap, which I think is really good for us. So EDC, this is just another example of him cooking.
I have to applaud that. And not only did I like the contract, I love what Mr. Henry himself said afterwards on Twitter. I'm going to read it real quick for you. He said,
Yeah, yeah.
Flock.
I didn't hear him.
He said, Flock, with 3 Raven emojis, purple heart emoji, saluting emoji, and the little flex emoji. God is good. Out of Ravens, I'm appreciative and grateful for everyone a part of this great organization, and a big shout out to all my teammates to be able to make this possible. Thank you, Flock Nation, for always supporting, working as hard as I can to be able to contribute to us holding up that trophy when it's all said and done. Love, 22. So
Yeah.
now that I know he's here for 3 more years, I might have to invest in a black 22 jersey. I'm not gonna lie, is that right there? But I love you enough, Mr. Henry. I'm sold. But great news all around. Have 8 and 22 back together. I know Lamar was happy, and I think you're next, buddy. You're next to get that extension. You or Mr. Linderbaum. Hopefully you and then Linderbaum. But uh, bright signs coming from EDC.
Yeah, man. I mean, and Dre says at some point we got to get it. Yeah, I mean, I think that, let me say this. You said 8 and 22 back together is awesome, which it really is. But I'll tell you this: I don't think that this deal gets done if Lamar Jackson's not on the team.
Mm.
I think that the Lamar Jackson effect, it expands beyond just on the field play, right? You can tell in the locker room these guys are buying into Lamar Jackson. I can guarantee you, if Derrick Henry had the type of season that he had last year with us, but he just had it another year with the Titans, he would demand a lot more money than 12 million a year. I'm guaranteeing you that right now. It would be somewhere in that 16 to probably 17, $18 million range. I can guarantee you that, because he would know that he's the catalyst. But he knows on this team, everything flows through eight. And not only that, But Lamar Jackson is such a great leader as well, and they had multiple moments last season that were kind of highlighted in the Ravens Wired episodes. If you watch those, where you can kind of see the chemistry and the friendship between Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Again, man, it just speaks volumes to their relationship, and I think that that's a big reason why Derrick Henry was willing to take literally, quite literally, less than what he is worth objectively, right, as compared to some of the other running backs in the league. So I think it's a win for everyone. He gets an extension, especially in his older age. Here, he's making some pretty good, really good money, for a running back, and like you said, we get him for 3 more years. So we got him this year, and expiring deal that he's already got, and then we got two more years after that. So man, I think it's only going to get better, and the window opened back up a little bit with that move. I will say that. Like, so the window, if it was right here with extending Derrick Henry 2 more years, it opened up just a little bit more. I do think Lamar Jackson is next, but that's another story for another episode.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned, if he was with the Titans, he'd ask for more. Because the whole situation you just described is basically Miles Garrett. I mean, that's who I thought of immediately. A really, really good player, coming off a good year, but with a bad team, requests a trade and gets, the biggest contract we've seen for edge rusher. That's what it is. If he's with the Titans, he's asking for probably close to that 19 mil a year, if I'm being honest. And I saw something like, guys like him, guys like D Hop, taking a little less to come here to play. That's always good to see, and hopefully we can get the main catalyst behind that locked up as well, and a Raven for life, truly a Raven for life, so we don't have to worry about what we did a couple years ago.
Facts, man. Like I said, man, the Lamar Jackson effect is very, very strong. D Hop on a great deal, Derrick Henry on a great deal. These guys want to play with L Jack, man. They really do, and they want to win with L Jack. So let me see. Dre says here, if we improve in our play from the guards, I can see Henry having another leading rushing season. See, I mean, that's the only kind of question mark that Ravens fans have right now, specifically on the offensive line. Who's going to play left guard? Is it going to be Voorhees? Who's going to play right guard? Is it going to be Falele? I fully expect it to be Falele. Speaking of Daniel Falele, I don't know if you saw the image floating around the
It
internet past couple of days of him working out. He's looking lean. The guy's looking lean, especially for the off season, man. I don't know when that picture was taken, but he's looking good. I do expect him to improve next season. He did end the season very strong. You and I both agree with that. So I think that right guard, not to say that like I don't want to put it on record saying like we're good at right guard. You know what I mean? I still need to see, going into next season, okay, has his game improved? Is he still kind of making the same mistakes and putting Lamar in tough situations? But no, I mean, I'm kind of, my morale in Daniel Falele is building slowly but surely. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't want him to have the starting position all the way locked up. I don't want anybody to feel comfortable. I think only three guys in the line can feel comfortable: Stanley, Rosengarten, and Linderbaum. Those guards should be an open position.
Yeah.
It's anybody's to win, whether you're a UDFA, a third round pick. I don't care. Um, but I think he has the lead right now, and that's fair, I'd say. But if he's coming out and we see videos like we did last year of him getting blown up and Lamar having a guy in his face, I'm gonna be a little questionable. But as of right now, I would make him my starting right guard, and it's good seeing him working. I think with Ronnie Stanley as well in the offseason. So he looked really good last year coming back. I'm hoping Falele can have that same impact and that same just play as well possibly. And speaking of Stanley, did you read his Players Tribune article?
No, I did not.
So he mentioned like with his the whole ankle I word stuff, like the guy who was always behind him was Lamar. He's like couldn't thank him enough for being a good teammate. So that was really, really cool to see and kind of just describing what he was going through. I'm not gonna really go into it because I don't want to bring that energy back up in here, but give it a read. It's really interesting. A lot of respect for Stanley, and I'm really happy he got his extension with us. It could be a Raven for life.
Yeah, definitely happy to have him there, protecting number eight's blind side for the long run. We definitely do appreciate him for that. But yeah, again, like, it kind of goes back to what I was just saying 5 minutes ago, man. The Lamar Jackson effect. These guys absolutely adore Lamar Jackson. They do. You know, on the field, of course, his play speaks for itself, but I think his character, behind closed doors, the Lamar that we don't see, all these guys do see. And they always talk about it. They always talk about it. So More props to Lamar Jackson for being the leader that he is. Shout out to Ronnie Stanley as well for kind of opening up and being vulnerable about his experience with the team. Of course, shout out to EDC for locking up Derrick Henry for another 2 years. That's awesome too. We love to see it. We truly do. But I think it's time to go ahead and switch gears into the main topic of this episode as I just kind of go ahead and get to what we came here to talk about.
Yep.
The schedule. The
Yep.
schedule dropped in its totality last night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was actually on the Charm City Sideline podcast. Shout out to those guys. They had me on, and I was kind of talking about and reacting to the schedule in real time. And I wasn't very shocked by pretty much anything, but at the same time, this is a very interesting schedule for me, and I cannot wait to hear what your thoughts are on it. Let me just try to zoom in a little bit so we can see a little bit better, if it'll let me. All right, that'll have to do. I can't zoom in anymore. But anywho, full screen it. You can see it or pull it up yourself. The Ravens schedule has dropped in its totality. Alex, I want to go through these games one by one and kind of give our reactions on what we think about it. Right. So week one, let me just go ahead and get this out of the way. Alex, you called it. You called it. Week one, Ravens at Bills, Sunday night football. He nailed it. Um, I'm not a fan of it. Let me just go ahead and say that. Like I don't appreciate the NFL making the Ravens relive their past traumas in week one of the regular season, their past playoff traumas, that is. And honestly, I kind of have a bitter taste in my mouth about this matchup. I could honestly, half of me could care less whether or not we win, against one of these top AFC teams in the regular season. But the other half of me thinks like, okay, if we don't win this, it's not going to put us in the best position going into the playoffs seating wise because we know the Bills are going to be right there. We know the Chiefs, who are also on our schedule here, they're going to be right there as well. So we have to win these games. But Alex, what was your knee jerk reaction to finding out that it was official that the Ravens will be facing the Bills in Buffalo Orchard Park Sunday Night Football Week One?
Yeah, I'm just like really like this is what we're gonna do. Week one off the bat, and I'm hoping that this team learned from last year. I thought we started off kind of flat against the Chiefs. I know we came out with the opening drive touchdown, but after that it was stagnant. Thankfully, likely pulled some magic out of his hat and Roquan got an interception. But I need some more from this. Obviously, I want us to win, and if we do win, I'm not going to sit here and parade around like it's a Super Bowl because it's not. But I want to see a bit of improvement. I want to see this defense starting off strong. There's no excuses for anybody. I feel like it's year two of Zach, or I'm not going to give you the first year excuse. I need you on it from jump, and I think we will be on it from jump. But this is just a great way to end off that first Sunday of NFL football with us going against it. And you bring up a good point. Reliving past trauma. The opening game is Eagles Cowboys. Why not Eagles Commanders? That's an NFC Championship rematch, and I feel like the Commanders
Right.
are the most hyped up team I think in the league right now. That isn't your Chiefs, Bills, where they're the new kids on the block. So that's
Yeah.
a little interesting to me. But for this one, got to start off, punch them right in the mouth.
And you know what's funny about what you just said? The NFL said that their reasoning for having Cowboys Eagles as the Thursday night season opener was that they feel like the Cowboys Eagles rivalry has not lived up to expectations in the past couple of years with either a quarterback being hurt or it being too late in the season to really matter. But my thing is like, no, like throw in the young star quarterback Jaden Daniels and this young Commanders team against the defending Super Bowl champions and let them try to get their lick back from the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
Like, wow,
It's us.
I say you did it to us. You did it to us, and now in back-to-back years, I mean, they're doing it with divisional round losses now. I can see. I can only imagine if the Ravens, knock on wood, God forbid, the Ravens make the playoffs and they get bounced in the wild card by, I don't know, like the Texans or
Hey,
somebody. I don't know. Right. I don't know. Right. I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking. And then next season, the Ravens try to make the NFL makes the Ravens play the Texans week one, Houston, Monday Night Football or something stupid like that. We'd probably beat them, but still, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Like I just don't understand, but you do have to play who's in front of you. And my only gripe about it is that, I mean, and we talked about this on Monday. Like, why can't we get a schedule where we can kind of start off with a rhythm? You know what I mean? Like, you see that mid section of the schedule there where we've got who was it? The Bears. No, not the Bears. The Jets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Dolphins. Like, let us start with one of those teams. Any other AFC East team, to be honest with you. Let us get our feet rolling. Our feet wet, and get the ball rolling before we start facing some of these powerhouses. But let's go ahead and move on to the next matchup here. Week 2, home
Mm.
opener against the Cleveland Browns. Alex, what are your thoughts on this one?
Joseph Vincent Flacco coming back to Baltimore. This is going to be a good one. Our home opener. Um, I would have liked to be a different team, but I guess we get the Browns out the way first, and they've have beaten us at home the past 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. I
I'm
mean,
sorry, no, we beat them. They beat us a couple years ago, but we've lost. We haven't swept them in a couple years, so I want this to be the year we sweep them. Um,
yeah.
so let's do that. So it'll be a good home opener, and hopefully it doesn't go like last year's week 2 game. Not gonna bring that one up. Gardner Minshew isn't playing. Don't let that happen.
Yes, right. And see, like my only concern with these first 3 games, right? And we haven't even gotten to the fourth one. I know you guys see it, but my only concern with these first 3 games is that the Ravens come out on Sunday Night Football at Orchard Park. The Buffalo fans have been clamoring for football ever since they got bounced out by Mahomes. So they're not the only ones pissed, right? We're pissed at them. They're pissed at the world. Hell, we're pissed at the world. Everybody's pissed. I don't want that game to be an emotional dump for the
Mhm.
Ravens like it was against the Chiefs week 1 last year, because we took that into the next week, right? And we ended up dropping another game to another AFC team, started off 0-2. Then week 3, we went and we played a viable NFC team. And that's exactly how this schedule is set up this year as well. So if we do start 0-1, if we lose to the Bills, right? And then we go and we play a hard fought game against the Cleveland Browns, because why not, right? It's a divisional matchup. Hopefully we can pull that one out. But then you have the Lions, right? You have the Detroit Lions, who the last time we played the Lions, we did slap them around, yes, but this is a different, slightly more mature team now, I would say. And they're not going to be going easy, so that's going to be a tough game. Just kind of get into the. What did you think about the Lions matchup? Because I know Golf is your guy.
I think we're gonna win by 2 possessions. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they match up well with us. I think their team 2 years ago was a lot better than their team now. Uh, I just think if we can stop Gibbs, I think we can win this pretty easily. It's Monday night. We haven't had a Monday night game since 2021 against the Colts. I like this game a lot for us, so it'll be a good one. It'll be loud, but this will get guys talking. But I think Lamar will have a typical Lamar game in prime time against NFC opponent.
Yeah, I can
And
see it.
I just want to say we're spoiled to say that. I shouldn't be saying that, but I am. Like,
Yeah,
I think their regression. I hate to say it, is going to happen. Kelly Cam, yeah, they lost OC and DC. It's hard to make up from that. It's really hard. So, especially
yeah,
week 3, I think we'll do it.
yeah. They're and like you said, they're going to be at the bank. It's going to be rocking in there. First primetime game at home of the season. Yeah, it might be a scary sight for the Lions, but it still will be. It's still a good opponent. So you
Mhm.
can't.
Yeah,
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 yeah. You can't just write them off. So, but week 4,
yeah.
that takes us to week 4, right?
Mm.
Kansas City Chiefs, 4 o'clock game. I just want to point out that the Ravens have 2 away games in the first month of the season. One of them coming in week 1, and one of them coming in week 4. Those 2 away games are the Bills and the Chiefs. But sandwiched in between is a tough divisional opponent who's always going to play us tough, because why not? And then one of the best teams in the NFC. So
Mhm.
these 4 games to start is absolutely they're absolutely crucial, but it's a brutal schedule these first 4 weeks, and we haven't even gotten to 5 and 6 yet. But what are your thoughts on the Chiefs week 4?
425. I mean, I feel like this, I'm glad it's not prime time. It's gonna be Nance and Romo. So if you're not a fan, mute the TV. Just getting that out there now. Mute it. But the NFL, I don't want to complain, but I feel like we did get hoed a little bit with our scheduling, and we'll talk about that more. But these first 6 games are a gauntlet, and it's a test, and I love it because I want to know what this team is made of. But this game here, I'm right there with you. I don't want this to be another emotional. We still have unfinished business with them. but it's just a regular season game. Go out there and win it. Hopefully, see him again later. But it's Mahomes. He has our number, unfortunately, and until proven otherwise, he's going to be our kryptonite.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, these are going to be games, especially the Bills and the Chiefs. These are going to be games where I'm looking at, okay, where is our pass rush?
Mm,
Okay, like who's going to be the one to like really put these two star quarterbacks under duress? Excuse me. It's just somebody's got to step up and be that guy. I'm hoping it can be in the Dafe Elway who takes another step. From his 10 sack season. I'm hoping, of course. I mean, I think that early on in the season they'll probably try to work in Mike Green here and there. So I don't really expect him to, get all the opportunities. But if he can flash, that'd be awesome. But moving right along here, week 5, back at the bank, 1 p.m. game against the Houston Texans, who
mm,
seem to be kind of like the little brother of the Ravens right now. The
yeah.
Ravens just kind of spank them every single time. And most recently last year on Christmas Day, I was at that game and like it just did not look competitive at all. CJ Stroud looked absolutely lost. I don't know what the Texans' game plan is going to be going into what is this their third matchup with or no fourth matchup with CJ Stroud against the Lamar Jackson led Ravens. Am I right? Yeah,
Yep.
fourth matchup
Yep.
this will be. So yeah, what do you think about Week 5 at Houston? I think we win this one.
I think we do as well. Uh, Not going to be an easy game, but at the same time, I said that last year, and look what happened. But them not having tanked all year is going to hurt. You know, that big vertical threat guy, which is going to suck. I mean, he can pop the top off of defense, and it's going to be tough without him. Defense obviously got
Yeah.
to find a way to hold on with Will Anderson, but I think we can get this one too. But I'm just going to the next week. I think arguably the next game that can be maybe probably one of the hardest ones out of these first 6 games, because no matter feels like who we play, when we play him, the Rams give us trouble. um,
I mean, but
it's
the
that,
Rams give everybody trouble, really. I mean, they gave the
yeah, and
Eagles
that they're
trouble in the
scary.
playoffs last year. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like I think they're one of the most underrated teams with coaching. Stafford's back. You get what Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua now.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But at the same time, I do see the Ravens kind of rolling over the Rams in this one. I
Oh,
see them just kind of running their way to victory. The last time, respectfully, the last time the Rams played the Ravens, Derrick Henry was not a Raven.
mm-hmm.
So I think that that'll be a kind of like a very deciding factor in this one, and I think that the Ravens take it by, dare I say, 2 possessions. I think that
Oh,
honestly, a lot of these games, you're going to see Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry go scorched earth. I think that's what we're going to see, and I think especially against NFC teams in particular, who don't see the Ravens all that much, so they don't really have time to game plan like that as much. Yeah, I'm taking my Ravens in this one. So with that being said, here we are with the bye week, right? 6 games down, early bye week this year, by the way, and we'll get into that in a second. But what do you see the Ravens' record being at this point in the season at the bye?
I'm right there with Sam. If we're serious, 5-1. I can see an L to maybe the Bills or the Chiefs. All
Okay.
those home games have got to be wins for me. Have got
Yeah,
to be. So
100%.
I'm gonna go 5-1. I think we're gonna lose to the Chiefs.
Mm. Yeah, and I really like that prediction as well. I actually agree. I actually do agree. I only see us losing either week 1 or week 4. Hopefully we can pull out both of those and really give us the confidence, to go through the rest of the regular season, and see what we can do in the playoffs. But yeah, I think I would agree 5-1 at this point in the season. But what do you think about the Ravens having an early bye week this year?
Yeah,
Last year I think we had a week, what, 13 or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Something crazy. So what do you think about this week 7 bye?
I would prefer it a little bit later, um, but maybe that could do us good. I'm not too sure. I would like it maybe right after that Vikings game.
Mm.
We're in Minnesota. Can you take a week off? A little early, but I prefer it 2 or 3 weeks later. To be honest with
Well, for me, I kind of like having the bye in week 7, because it gives our team, especially after that 6 game, that brutal 6 game stretch, might I add, it's going to give the team some time to kind of rest and recuperate and recover. Because there's going to be, I think we're going to have to pull out all the stops for some of these teams. Bills, Chiefs. I think that the Rams is going to be a hard fought one as well, but I do think that we win by a pretty good margin by the time it ends. But it's not going to be easy, and I think that Week 7 it'll come at the perfect time. And I can't really talk about it right now because we're in what is it, May. Um, but after Week 7, like when Week 7 comes upon us, I think we're gonna appreciate having the bye in Week 7. I really do. But I do think that the Ravens go 5-1 up to that point. The interesting thing is that after the bye week, the Ravens go back home to the bank, right? But right before the bye week, they have two straight home games as well. So you have two straight home games, a bye, and then another home game against the Bears. And I think that the Bears just aren't going to know what hit them. Ravens off of a bye. We don't typically lose off of a bye. I think John Harbaugh's record is insane after a bye. So I got us beating the Bears. Yeah. What do you think about that matchup?
As do I. I think we're gonna we're gonna hurt. We're not gonna. We're gonna. Caleb's not gonna know what he's seeing. I'll tell you that right now. It's gonna be tough for him. I think we win this. Um, and I know people now. This next game are getting PTSD. Thursday night football in Miami. Last time this
Zero
happened,
blitz.
yeah. Um,
They won't try that again.
yeah, different team. The main guy who had like his career game against us was Javon Holland, who no longer plays for them. So I think we'll win this one as well. In Miami now we kind of have like an extended bye week or extended week now, just to play on Thursday. So you have that whole that
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and that whole week, going to the next game. So I think we
Yeah.
definitely take that from them as well.
Okay, I mean, and I agree, and I totally agree. So 7-1 at this point is what we have the Ravens.
Yep.
7-1. Interesting. So going into Week 10, and I actually caught some flack for this online when I made my reactionary short video to the schedule. Week 10 at Minnesota, 1 p.m. game. I'd assume maybe on Fox. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, but what do you think about the Vikings matchup Week 10? Because I think that it's smooth sailing. Me personally, I think that of course by that time in the season, Week 10, I do still expect them to be, experimenting with JJ McCarthy, especially if he hasn't already popped off yet.
Yeah.
But he's essentially a rookie quarterback
Yep.
because he didn't play at all last year. And, against rookie quarterbacks, I think that this Ravens defense is just going to be a little bit too much for him. And I think that we win this one by 2 possessions. So give me 8-1. But what do you think?
I said they were frauds last year, and until proven otherwise, they're still frauds to me. Not wasn't big on McCarthy and Michigan coming out, so he has to show me a lot. I could see us losing this game. I don't think we do. I think we're 8-1. I
Mm,
have us winning this game as well.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that takes us to week number 11 at Cleveland, 4:25 p.m. game. What do you think about this one?
I have us losing this as our we get that bozo loss right there. It doesn't make any sense. We're 8-1. We're 8-1. How?
You know what? More importantly, let me ask you this: who do you think is starting at quarterback for the Browns by week 11?
Ooh, Kenny Pickett.
KP, old Pickett.
And we're gonna get trolled because Kenny Pickett would beat us with the Steelers and he beats us with the Browns. It just that's Ravens football in a nutshell.
See, I disagree. I don't see the Ravens dropping a game to Kenny Pickett ever again. To be
I
honest
hope
with
not.
you, so I'm gonna go 9-1. You're going 8-2 at this point. I think that we definitely beat the Browns. Now moving along, we have the Jets at home. That is a 1 p.m. CBS game. I got us beating the Jets. You
Yeah, so
probably
do
Justin
I.
Fields situation.
Bust, Bustin Fields. I, I'm sorry. Year 5 running back play gimmicks. You're not fooling me. I know what you are. Yeah, give us this win.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. So let me
This one.
see this next one here. These next couple of games, like, are very interesting. In the league, it seems like they wanted to backload our schedule with divisional opponents, and
Mm,
that always sucks right before the playoffs because those games are very very grueling. Right, they're
yep.
very physically demanding. It takes a little bit extra in order to pull those ones out. However, I do have the Ravens beating the Bills, not the Bills, but the Bengals at home. This one is a Thursday night game. Thanksgiving, actually. Thanksgiving Day is the holiday that the Ravens will be playing on. I assume from here until Lamar Jackson starts to fall off, which I don't see that happening anytime soon. the Ravens will be playing on either Thanksgiving or Christmas. I think it's just
Yeah.
like a foregone conclusion. The Chiefs are playing both this season, which sucks for them. But the Ravens aren't playing on Christmas this year, but they will be playing on Thanksgiving against the Bengals at home at the bank. Probably a good game to go to be honest with you, after dinner.
Mhm.
But what are you thinking about that one?
Here's my thing, man. It's like we've had their number for the past couple of years. Like they've beat Burrow's beat Lamar once, and I'm like, when is rule of logic? Has to change. I don't think it does here. I'm gonna try to go to this game. I'm not gonna lie to you. I might get disowned for not being there for Thanksgiving dinner. I will be there during the day, but I'm gonna try to get to this game at night. Um, it's gonna be the color rush. It's gonna be the purple rising on Thanksgiving. Let's not even same
Yeah, for
jerseys,
sure.
helmets. They'll be out.
For sure.
I have us winning this game. It's gonna be. I don't want to say shootout because we don't have Marcus Williams back there blowing coverage and Brandon Stevens. It's a completely different defense, but I do think we win this game. So yeah, give me the Ravens in this one.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go Ravens in this game to put us at 11-1. I think you would have the Ravens 10-2 at this point.
Yep.
But moving on from that, we got the Steelers Week 14 at home, Sunday, December 7th, 1 p.m. game on CBS. I think that this one is interesting to me. I mean, only because everything going on with the Steelers right now, we don't know what they're going to look like. We don't know what their identity is going to be going into the season. We know defensively, what they're probably going to do, but offensively, the jury is still out. They don't have a solid QB situation. I think the whole world is still waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make his LeBron like decision on where he wants to go. And the Steelers kind of have to match up with that too. Um, but for what it's worth, I will say I do have the Ravens losing this one. I have them losing this one at home. I think it's a defensive struggle. It's one of those games where it's like hard fought defensive struggle. Ravens turn the ball over maybe once or twice, and the Steelers just pull out a very close but tough one. And that'll put us at 11-2 on the season for me. But what do you think about this game?
I have us beating the Steelers. Nothing about them scares me. Like they're just. I don't care who's at quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, hell, it could be Duck Hodges. I don't care. Um, I
Ravens in
think
five.
yeah, Ravens, Ravens in 4 quarters. But after seeing last year, I think we got that monkey off our back. I think that's a real thing. Like once we beat them in the regular season, that playoff game wasn't even like there was no worry at all about that game. We went in there and we whooped their ass.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah,
they'll continue, and I think we'll beat them this game too.
yeah. I mean, I think there's going to be that annual dropping of a game to the Steelers, and I think it comes right there. So I have us at 11-2. I think we both do at this point.
Yep.
Um, the Bengals are next. So we play the Bengals twice in 3 weeks. I do have us losing this one
Hmm.
to the Bengals on the road. That does mean for me, I have us going on a 2 game skid there to put us at 11-3. But what do you think about this second Bengals matchup?
I have us winning this game. I'm sorry, I have us losing this game. I'm sorry, losing.
Okay.
The one thing about this though is gonna be interesting. This could change. So we play the Bengals, Steelers, Bengals. The Bengals play us, Bills, us. So that's a big. It's not like they're getting a little cupcake game in between. They're
Right.
playing
Right.
playing Buffalo right there. But I have us losing this game, but that could very well change depending what these teams look like. But
Yeah.
11-3 for me as well.
Same. So 11-3, that goes into week 16 against the Patriots at home, Sunday, December 21st, 1 p.m. CBS game. I do have the Ravens cruising through this one, a pissed off Ravens, that is. And they'll get to 12-3 after this.
Yep, right there with you, winning this game as well.
Yep. And then week 17 at Green Bay, date and time still to be decided. Green Bay, it kind of scares me a little bit because I don't know if you remember, Alex, but last off season, right before the season started, they were doing the joint practices and whatnot, and the Ravens were doing one with the Green Bay Packers. And the only thing that I heard coming out of Ravens Twitters and like the beat writers who were actually there watching was that the Packers were getting whatever they wanted. Like Jordan Love and that Packers offense were getting whatever they wanted against the Ravens defense. And, you know, obviously joint practices, we kind of have to put give that a grain of salt. I do think that the Packers are a very good football team and that they'll continue to progress this year. They've got a couple new pieces themselves with the Matthew Golden and the like, but I think that this game will be a close, like a little bit too close for comfort. To be honest
Yeah,
with you, it's going to be one of those. But I do have the Ravens winning it. So I think that puts us at what 12-3. I want to say,
yeah, 12-3.
yeah, 12-3. What do you think about the Packers?
Yeah, this game go either way. I'll be honest with you. Like the whole Lamar NFC thing is kind of like saving me. I could see
Hmm.
us dropping this, but I mean, what I saw the Eagles do to the Packers last year was kind of like we could do the same thing, with Derrick Henry and with the way our team plays. So I have us winning this game. I do have
Okay.
winning this game, um, and I have us dropping the game last game because I feel like we play our starters for the first half or a drive or two and put the backups in. So and I think then
Yeah, I don't know. I have us
I
beating the
think season's
Steelers in
over.
Week 18.
Okay, I mean I want to sweep them, but I feel like Harbs is like, let me play my guys for a series or two and then get them out of there.
I think this is the year for the Ravens to finally sweep the Steelers for the first time in a long time. I think that they sweep the Steelers this season. That's something that I know Lamar Jackson really wants for himself. So that's why I think that first game is gonna be huge, and I think that the Ravens go ahead and they pull it out. But or no, wait. I had us losing in week 14. That's right. I had the Ravens losing in week 14. But I do see them beating the week 18 matchup against the Steelers. I have them winning that one. So all in all, I have the Ravens going. That's 13 wins, right?
I'm losing to the Steelers because we have backups playing Browns, Bengals, and then
Chiefs or
Chiefs.
Bills?
13-4.
Yeah,
13-4 or
13 and 4.
14-3, depending. But
One of the
yeah,
two, yeah. If you had to make like a FanDuel line for it, I think that the Ravens line would probably be at like 12 and a half or
yeah,
13 and a half, one of the two,
yep.
but most likely like 12 and a half. That's like a sweet spot number. Um, but yeah, so the schedule overall, I think that it goes like it's very hard to start, and then you kind of get like a little reprieve in the middle, right after the bye week, and then towards the end, it's not even necessarily the fact that there's just so many tough opponents, but like you have like some tough NFC teams sprinkled in there, and then you've got like basically all of your divisional matchups, right? So it goes again really hard to kind of soft in the middle to pretty hard towards the end. Um, but I think it really all depends on how the Ravens, of course, barring I words and things like that. But it really depends on how the Ravens start. And last season, the Ravens did not get off to a fast start, primarily because of their defense and the lack of identity that they had on defense as well. But I think that the continuity of Zach Orr going into his second season as defensive coordinator will prove that you know it'll lend a helping hand to how fast the Ravens are going this season. I'll say that. I'll say that. So I'm excited for this season. I mean, obviously, the entire regular season, us Ravens fans are going to take with a grain of salt. I think we fully expect for the Ravens to be good this year to make the playoffs, right? But it's just really about what they can do after the regular season is over in January. So, any other thoughts on the schedule, Alex?
I do, I do. I
Yeah.
think the NFL absolutely screwed us, hoed
Ooh.
us.
Ooh.
Um, we have 9 home games, 8 away games. 9 home games, and we end the season on 2 away games. This is me being a fan complaining. Yes, I know it's annoying, but I'm gonna do it. That makes no sense. The fact we have 3 straight home games twice and 3 away games bunched in the middle there. I feel like that could have been done a lot better. Uh, but I'm just still stuck on those final 2 away games. 3 out of our last 4 games away when you have 9 home games, make it make sense. You know what I mean? It just some something smells real fishy around here. And so I'm not gonna get too much into it, but other teams have favorable schedules and matchups and certain. Us, man, it's okay. I like it hard. I like
I
our
think
schedules hard.
I think it's by nature of
Pause.
yes, definitely pause.
My fault.
But I think it's just by nature of the division. To be honest with you, like our division is not the toughest right now, but at any given moment, it can become the toughest division. Like let's just say the Steelers, they find, of course, the Steelers are going to steal it, right? They're going to win games here and there. Probably going to end up going over 500, as you know they normally do. The Bengals are going to be very, very lethal on offense. The Cleveland Browns, you know, they're going to brown. And we don't know exactly what's going to happen with them. But they're still all like tough matchups, as you know,
Yeah.
as opposed to a team like the Buffalo Bills, right? Where you've got, you know, the Dolphins twice, and then you've got the Jets twice as well, and then the Patriots, who are supposed to be on the up and up. But the Bills are so just leaps and bounds above every single team in the AFC East, and you can make kind of like a similar argument for the Ravens in the AFC North, but like it's just a much more physical and grueling and hard fought division. So, but I say all that to say, if you look at the Buffalo Bills schedule, it looks like a cakewalk.
Mhm.
It literally looks like a cakewalk. It's like it's bad. It's bad. But neither here nor there. We're gonna play who's in front of us. Hopefully, we beat the brakes off the Bills in Week 1, to really set the tone on the season for us. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Can
But
I
I
can I
do
say
see what you're
something
saying
though?
though. Sure.
If the Bengals are in the AFC East, they win the AFC East with the Bills in it. I, I don't think the Bills could deal with playing a team like that twice a year. Like coming against like a high octane offense, man. Like the fact that we are up going go blow for blow with them twice and win them both told me a lot. But obviously it's regular season. I need to see it in the postseason. But yeah, I mean, what they're playing the Jets, the Patriots since Brady left have kind of been a joke, and then the Dolphins. You don't know who their starting quarterback is every week. We don't. You want to say that about the Browns and Steelers, but the Steelers at least are a respected franchise that somehow manage to go 9-8 every year or above 500 and make the playoffs. Don't know how they do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can quite agree with you saying that the Bengals would win the AFC East if they were in, you know, in there with the Bills. I don't know, man. I mean, there's something about whenever you have one of the big four quarterbacks, right? You are liable to win at any given moment. And those big four, as we know, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, like the parity in those four matchups, right, between those four teams, right, it's so close. There's really no telling. I don't think that the Bengals would sweep the Bills, you know, if they played twice a year. I don't see that. You know, I just think that there's a little bit more of an X factor ability in Josh Allen that would will them to win some of those games. So that's just me. But again, we do agree the Bills have a cakewalk of a schedule. Absolutely.
AFC at least. And like that was my argument with the whole the Brady thing. Like you're in this division. Look who you're playing. You're playing Ryan Tannehill twice a year, um, Chad Pennington twice a year, and like
Yeah.
whoever the Dolphins threw out there, or whoever it was, or Mark Sanchez twice a year. You know what I mean? Like I wish we could do that. Instead, we were playing Ben twice a year, and then
Yeah.
Carson Palmer, who was pretty damn good too.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Our guy Rod Wave says here, don't care about the schedule. Get to the AFC Championship game
The Super
and
Bowl.
win. Yeah, that's how we feel, man. That's how we all feel. We're right there with you. We are right there with you, Rod Wave. Appreciate you for coming through. But okay, enough about the schedule. Let's go ahead and move on to another topic that has been swirling around the internet the past couple of days. This whole draft lottery thing, right? We were on live on Monday night, and you brought it to my attention that the Dallas Mavericks had just scored the number one pick in the NBA draft via the draft lottery. And I went and I did some research on it, and I got to thinking to myself, like, you know, why doesn't the NFL, you know, employ some sort of a draft lottery? And it brought me to Mike Greenberg. Mike Greenberg is an analyst on ESPN. He does Get Up in the Mornings, and he is very, very adamant about the NFL kind of putting in a draft lottery in place. So before we give our opinions on this, Alex, I want to go ahead and spin this clip from Get Up ESPN, and so we can kind of get some context on what a draft lottery would potentially do for the NFL.
I would like right now to pitch what I believe might be the highest rated show in the history of sports television. Here it is, a TV special where the NFL announces its draft order live. Imagine that. Or even better, you don't have to imagine it. The NBA just did it this week, and they've done it every year since 1985. Football needs a draft lottery. It would be great for the league. It would be great for the fans. Literally everyone would watch it. Imagine the 18 teams that missed the playoffs and all of the fans gathered around televisions waiting for the ping pong balls to do their thing and the envelopes to be opened, and Arch Manning is playing the role of Cooper Flagg. The ratings would be ridiculous. But that's not the reason to do it. The thing about the lottery is it's a good idea. Tanking is a scourge. It is the worst thing in sports. Losing should never be incentivized. The NFL has always strived for parity. It's a great idea. It has served them well. But the trouble is, as their season has gotten longer, the bottom is starting to fall out of that a little. Last year, 10 teams won less than 30% of their games. That was the most ever. 6 of those teams won less than 25%. That's the most since 1926. Teams are throwing in the towel. That's exacerbated by the 17th game. Soon there's going to be an 18th, and I'm all for that. But this problem will only get worse. For example, this past year, the Browns fielded a roster so non-competitive in Week 18, they were 20.5-point underdogs to Baltimore, and the Ravens covered. The ping pong balls are the answer. Oh, and one final note on that. The lottery is not rigged. Come on, people. There is no one with a shred of common sense who thinks that a business worth tens of billions of dollars would jeopardize literally every penny over something so comparatively trivial. The lottery is a good idea because it makes losing less valuable, and it makes for pretty terrific drama as well. It is the best idea that basketball has had in a long time, and it would be if you...
Okay. So you heard that from Mike Greenberg, aka Greeny from ESPN, on arguing why the NFL should instill some sort of draft lottery. Now, Alex, when you listen to all that, and everybody in the chat, I want you guys to give your opinions on this too, and that's why we have the full chat box up right now. But Alex, what are your opinions on the NFL draft lottery conversation?
I have never once watched a draft lottery in my life. I don't think I will. Um, the whole tanking stuff. I remember what was it? Who was it when like a team lost in like one of the final weeks? And like, oh no, why didn't you just lose that game? Like you wouldn't have got. Oh, the Texans, Lovey Smith, they won.
Yeah,
And what did they
lost him
get?
his job.
What did they get though? They got C.J. Stroud out of it. Tanking. Like
Yeah.
I just don't see why the NFL would take anything from the NBA. I feel like they're like what the second or third most watched sport. NFL is far and away the number one. I don't see it. I don't like it. And him saying it's not rigged. What were the chances that the Mavs are the first pick? I'm not too sure. I just know it was very small.
1.6.
1.6%.
Yeah.
It's like when you just put two and two together. It's like, oh, you trade away like this player. Like doesn't make any sense why you trade him away. Then you get the first pick. Like I can see where conspiracy theories come from. I'm just not big for the lottery for the NFL. And NFL fans are different than NBA fans. I think there would be a lot of uproar.
Yeah, I do believe that as well. I see my guy Killer Cam in the chat saying the same situation happened to the Atlanta Hawks last year. Was it rigged for them? The highest chance was 14%. Yes, so the bottom 3 teams all have a 14% chance of scoring the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. That's how the lottery works. But I mean, like, I'm not gonna come out here and say flat out that it is rigged. But I do think that money talks, right? And markets talk, more importantly. And I think that it is in the NFL's best interest to kind of make sure that some of their biggest stars go to some of their biggest markets. I mean, the NBA is literally surviving off of, the Lakers, the Warriors, you know what I mean? The Knicks, teams like that, like the big, like the Boston Celtics, they are surviving off of teams like that. So I don't think that they really care about having like an even reverse draft order like the NFL does right now, because they're not necessarily interested in, like a I don't know, like a Utah or like a Charlotte or like a Washington Wizards, right? They're not really interested in bringing those teams out of the mud. And I think that the NFL is not going to follow suit with what the NBA does, is because they don't want to alienate markets, right? They don't want to alienate markets. I mean, you look at the best team arguably in the NFL right now, the Kansas City Chiefs. They've got a whole dynasty going, and they're located out of Missouri. Kansas City, Missouri. Like that's a very small market. I mean, the NFL draft was just held in Wisconsin.
Yep.
The NFL wants to make sure that they are touching bases and high fiving and kissing babies in every single city. And that's what made them so successful because even because with the current way the draft is set up, even if your team is terrible today, right? Like dog shit. You know what I mean? Let's take the Titans for example. Are you familiar with the End Zone Boys on TikTok?
I am. Yes, I am.
Yeah. So these are guys who go to every single Tennessee Titans game. Diehard fans are always sitting right on the field, and they heckle players from the other team that are visiting the Titans that day, right? And in one of their videos, um, you know, they're still talking trash because they're that passionate about their team, and they know that okay, we may suck right now, we may have nothing going for us right now, but we also have the potential to get that number one pick. You know what I mean? So I just don't think that tanking is as big of a problem in the NFL as people make it out to seem, you know. And I don't think that teams are tanking later in the seasons when it seems like they might be kind of like capitulating their season a little bit and not going as hard. I just think these teams are tired. You
Hmm.
got to think about it. You got to think about it. Like if you are I don't know, like a 5-7 team, right? Or a 5-8 team, like you're not going to the playoffs, right? And you're going up against a team that is, I don't know, literally I don't know, like 11-4. I don't know,
You're
right? A
playing the
good
Eagles.
team. You're playing
Yep.
the Eagles. You're not better than that team, right? So you're going to go out there and you're probably going to get demoralized very quickly, and that can lead to it being kind of like a runaway show. And it may look like this team is tanking, but no, they're just tired. Like they're getting their ass kicked, right? It's like two UFC fighters in the ring. Normally, the fighter who's getting his ass kicked is the one who's tired, like dead tired. Tired mentally, tired physically. That's what happens to some of these NFL teams. I don't think it has really much to do with tanking. Honestly, if you look around the league, there's always something interesting going on with at least every single franchise. There's always something interesting. And that's why, again, the NFL does not need it. Dre says it here in the chat. They don't need it. Exactly. The NFL does not need this. People wonder why NBA views are dropping at a historic rate. Yeah, because if I'm a fan of the Washington Wizards, right, and I watched this entire season and, the Wizards were terrible all season long, but I'm just thinking in the back of my head, you know what? It's okay because at the end of the season, we're probably going to be last, and Cooper Flag is right there. We're going to go ahead and grab him with the number one pick. But instead, the team that went to the NBA Finals last season ends up getting Cooper Flag, and you're stuck in purgatory for another year. It's like, what does that do to a fan base, to an entire
Yep.
market? You might have certain fans who say, okay, look, I'm checked out this year. I'm not interested in watching another year of mediocrity while everybody else continues to get better. Like the rich continue to get richer, right? And the poor just continue to kind of stay in poverty. Like I'm good this year. And now all of a sudden you've lost a fan because he might not check in next year or the year after that. He might have just lose interest. And I think that that's what's really hurting the NBA. It also, I think that tanking exists a little bit more in the NBA because there are so many games, right? There's so many games. So you can sit stars. Like you can quite literally like sit a healthy star in the NBA. And it's just nobody really bats an eye. Yeah, people talk about load management and stuff like that, but like it's accepted. It's normalized now, you know? So again, Greeny, he makes some points here about, and then one last thing. The amount of teams that go from zero to hero speaks for itself in the NFL. I mean, like, look at a team like the Detroit Lions, right? Who were bad for so long, but now they're on top of the NFC. Like teams can go from worst to first just like that. We see it all the time. Teams go from missing the playoffs, to making the playoffs the very next season. Like it happens. So
Commanders.
yeah, Commanders, right? It's just I don't know. I think Greeny's a little bit off his rocker here, but what else are you thinking?
I think you're 100% right. And the fact you brought up the whole Ravens Browns game, it's not like the Browns sat other players. They just weren't a good team. And that's not the Ravens' fault, the NFL's fault. Look at the GM. Look at the team he put together. Look at paying a quarterback 203 million guaranteed who just isn't good. That's the problem. And you can bring up the whole tanking stuff. I mentioned, imagine teams playing the Eagles, and the team did last year. That was the Panthers. The 2-9 Panthers. I'm sorry, the 3-9 Panthers played the 10-2 Eagles. They damn near beat them as well. Like it's any given Sunday for a reason. The same way Jameis Winston went out and beat the Ravens. I don't think any of us predicted that, and that's just the beauty of the NFL compared to the NBA. whole load management stuff. I don't want to go to pay for a Wizards game, which is the closest game to me. Maybe they're playing the Lakers. I want to go see LeBron play, and he's out because of load management, or some. I don't want that to happen. And with NFL, if that player is practicing all throughout the week, guess what? You're probably going to see him play. That's the difference. And the NFL shouldn't be taking tips from the NBA, which unfortunately is a dying league. Which is hate to say it. We talked about it with the whole Luka trade. That kind of saved him a little bit, but now yeah, there's no reason to take anything from the NBA if you're in the NFL. I mean, they're having, like you
Yeah.
said, next year the draft's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Like it was in Cleveland a couple years ago. The draft was.
Right.
It might be in Baltimore in a couple years. So
Yeah. The NFL, I mean, anywhere you go in the United States of America, you will find people who are diehard fans of an NFL franchise.
yep,
Anywhere you go, any state, even the states who don't have professional sports teams or an NFL team specifically, they root for somebody. They cheer for somebody. Like all of my family who lives up in Connecticut, right? They all cheer for the Patriots because they're so close to Boston. So it's like no matter where you go, and that again, it just speaks volumes to how good of a job the NFL has done over the years and not alienating any market. Right, it's completely straight up. It's fair. If your team is at the bottom of the league, the silver lining for you to tune in next season is that you're going to get that number one pick, that the sexy quarterback pick out of the draft, right? And that's what's going to keep you tuned in, you know. And also, at the same time, it's like you mentioned earlier with C.J. Stroud, guys like Jaden Daniels, they weren't the number one overall pick, right? I think we're putting a little bit too much emphasis on okay, who gets number one, right? When the number one pick is not always guaranteed. It's not always guaranteed to give you that type of return on investment. It's just not. I mean,
yep,
we look at like Trevor Lawrence right now. He's not living up to all that hype that he had coming out of college. So, and one more point I want to make before we wrap this up. Um, I would argue that if you had it set up so there's a draft lottery where the three worst teams have an even chance to get the number one pick. I would argue that even more teams would purposely try to tank because you have a higher percentage of
yep,
getting one of those three spots, you know? And then at that point, it's just a crapshoot.
yep.
So it just doesn't make sense at all for me. I think that the NFL is doing exactly what they need to do right now. I don't think that they need to change anything. Um, and yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there. I don't see the point of it, and why should a one win team and a maybe 3 or 4 win team have the same odds?
Yeah,
That 4 win team could have a lot of I words, and the win team could just be really bad. And now that pick possibly for the number one team for that 4 or 5 win team could be that needle mover that they need.
yeah, yeah. And I also think it just kind of takes a lot of the onus off of GMs to do their job.
Yep,
You know, uh, again, a GM's like I think if you had to like create like a grading scale, right, for what GMs are graded on, I would say a good third of it is the draft.
yep.
You know, and if you cannot nail the draft without having the number one overall pick, then like, bro, I got some news for you. Maybe this isn't the job for you, right? Because there's GMs all over the league who are getting talent deep in the first round, second round, third round, who turn out to be high impact players, right? So it's like, why do you always need the first pick? I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about
Rams,
it.
the
Yeah,
Rams. I mean, Les Snead didn't have
exactly.
they didn't have a first round pick for how long? But they
It,
still
it,
managed to get Cooper Cup
years,
later
yeah,
round, Puka Nacua later round, Tutu Atwell later round. Like their offense later round guys, they traded for their first for a quarterback, and they just built around him. I mean, every GM is different. Then you have Howie, who I think is the best, um, who just seems to do it every year.
yeah, yeah. No excuses up there. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and leave that combo in this episode of the Purple Rain podcast, episode 311, right here, as we still have over 40 people watching live. Thank y'all so much for coming out to this episode. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you like the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We'd appreciate that. Of course, we still got more content coming your way throughout the rest of this off season and going into next season as well. But yes, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def. And you can find this guy down here, pretty much anywhere at Simply AS10. If you just go on Google, type in Simply AS10, you can find them on Instagram, you can find them on Twitter, you can find them on wherever you want to find him. YouTube as well. Of course, he's always the highlight goat. Make sure you subscribe to him on YouTube and TikTok. Make sure you follow the TikTok. Yeah, I want to see some more TikTok videos too. I know you got those coming too. But yeah, it's been great, you guys. Hopefully, if you're just getting in here and you're want to catch the live or want to catch the episode, make sure you go ahead and just rewind. We talked about a lot on this one. But with that being said, again, my name is Sutton Def, but I'm gonna let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through episode 311 of the Purple Rain podcast. As always, stay positive, test freaking negative.
Yes, yes, yes. And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. Episode 311 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys